Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our inspirational interview series. And today we have a guest who is very near and dear to my heart, Dr. Kathleen Snellings, who is in the Vitality Circle and is now a mentor in the Vitality Circle. And she has so much to share with us about the oral biome and health with our teeth and gums and everything else, our tongues. And it's been really interesting to have her in the Vitality Circle as she's been learning Ayurvedic self-care for the oral biome. And then she has so much wisdom that she's been able to share with us from her background as a dentist. So I'm super excited to have her with us today. Before we get going, I just want to remind you all that I'm going live using StreamYard. So if you're here live, feel free to type in questions, and we'd love it if you grant StreamYard permission so that we can see your name and know specifically who we're responding to. It doesn't do anything creepy beyond what Facebook already does. So if you are interested in engaging, yay, Claire already typed in. Hi, Claire. So excited to have you here. So if you have questions along the way today, please type them in and let us know what your questions are. You can get them answered live by Dr. Kathleen Snellings. So Kathleen's career began at age 17 when she was cataloging orthodontic models. And then she became a chairside assistant and went on to become a hygienist and then a dentist. And she has done so much in terms of working with underserved communities and has so much to share. She's somebody that I've consulted at times when I've been unsure about things for my own teeth, which we will get into a little bit later. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Kathleen Snellings from the Wild West. Hello, Kathleen.
Hi. Yes, so I'm in Bishop, California right now.
Yeah, so Kathleen's traveling. She usually lives on the East Coast in Maryland and is traveling across the country, or has made it across the country and is now traveling around, which is really fun. So this background behind Kathleen is not a photograph. It is actually where she is, which is kind of breathtaking and beautiful. So Kathleen, tell us a little bit about your fascination with teeth and where this came from, or your interest in being a dentist.
Well, teeth have been an avenue for me to understand a lot of things. I played in a dental office when I was a kid. Our backdoor neighbor was a dentist, and we would ride our bikes up there and play around in all the cool dental materials. Way back then, you could play with mercury, which was totally a lot of fun and totally dangerous. And nobody knew, but here I am to tell the story. And I've just, my path was just open to follow a path toward dentistry. And I find a lot of excitement for myself in talking about teeth and caring for our teeth and our whole oral cavity. And it just is. It's just who I am, how I am.
Yeah, well, it's been really beneficial for us in the Vitality Circle having your expertise when we're like, we're not sure. So there are some specific Ayurvedic care techniques that we use for our mouths, both our teeth and our tongues and gums. So when you first came into the Vitality Circle and were introduced to things like oil pulling and tongue scraping and gum massaging and things like that, tell us a little bit about how that struck you, or what was your experience?
Yeah. So when I first came in, So I had scraped my tongue for years with this little plastic doohickey. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't really matter what you scrape your tongue with. And I come to find out it does, it mattered for me. Um, not really, I didn't really notice a big change between using a copper tongue scraper and using a plastic tongue scraper, except for the fact that I was really paying attention to what was coming off of my tongue and actually paying attention to what my tongue looked like and what information it gave me. And so that got me really curious. And I had over the years heard patients say, oh, yeah, I oil pull. And I'm like, yeah, it's not going to hurt you. So what? I don't think it's doing anything for you. But if it floats your boat, go ahead. Well, then I started oil pulling and I was like, oh, this is interesting. When I oil pull, I'm pulling a lot of mucus out of my sinuses, and uh, my gums are really looking better. And could this really have to do with oil pulling? And so I started asking all of these questions of myself. So I started running experiments on myself, one
Right.
person experiment.
Yeah, so you've run several experiments. And just to back up, for those folks watching that might not know what oil pulling is, this is an Ayurvedic practice. And Kathleen actually has some oil with her. I think she has lots of props there. So this is an oil that she uses that's coconut oil. You can also use sesame oil. Depending on your dosha or the season, you might change it up or what you're wanting to make happen in your mouth. So oil pulling is swishing with oil, basically. So you swish around for like 15 to 20 minutes. It takes a little bit of time. And it does a lot of really great things. It loosens the plaque on your teeth. It conditions your gums. And so Kathleen started running experiments with a lot of things, actually, right? With different flosses and oil pulling, right?
Yeah, I'm having a
Oh,
little hard time hearing you, Hannah. Um,
oh, okay.
the
My,
so
go ahead. Tell us about your experiments.
I'll tell you about my experiments since I think that's where we are because I can't hear you and you're frozen on my screen. So so I ran experiments. I went a period of time. Uh, well,
Uh-oh, we lost her. She went a period of time without brushing or flossing and just oil pulling, I think. Oh, there she is. Let's,
here I am.
okay. We
Apparently,
got
I'm
you
two
back.
people now.
Yes.
Can you
Just,
now?
yes.
The challenges of coming to you from the desert.
I know. It's pretty amazing, actually. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah. So you were starting to tell us about your experiments.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you about my experiments because maybe
Good.
you can hear me.
Yes.
Um, I did a period of time with using no mouthwash, a period of time with no flossing.
We lost her again. And a period of time without brushing. Oh, here she comes again. Okay. We got you back. Are you there? You can hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, I hear you.
Okay. So go ahead.
I can't see anything, but I can hear.
Okay, we can
So,
see you.
okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So, experiments.
Experiments.
Okay. So, no brushing, no flossing, no mouthwash are all the things that I did um, to try to figure out. And through all of that, I was oil pulling. Um, and it took me probably about 8 months to do all of those things. And I have to say that the longest I went without brushing was about 18 hours before I was out of my mind and I needed to brush. But it was interesting. What I found with oil pulling, and I had many, many visits with my hygienist to look at my gums and my teeth and the stuff that build up on our teeth. And so this is what I found. When I oil pulled and didn't do those other things, I was not building up as much tartar or calculus, the hard stuff that builds up in between our teeth and on the flat surfaces of our teeth under our gums. And so what that told me was it is it is somehow preventing all the bacteria from congregating and building up this hard deposit. Um, and so uh, when I wasn't flossing, I was and not brushing, I was feeling the plaque build up, and it wasn't as dense and sticky as without oil pulling. And I did a reverse experiment where I did the things without oil pulling so I could remind myself what it felt like. And it was actually true. And the other thing is that over this course of time, the stains that built up on my teeth were not as significant as in years past. Um, so some things happened with me along the way. So when I started in the vitality circle, I also stopped drinking black tea, which I always thought was the main contributor to the staining on my teeth. But I started eating a lot more kale and collards, which I always had some of, but I had a lot more of. And these are very big stainers in the dental, on dental surfaces as well. So looking at all of those things, my hygienist is like, bottom line is you are not getting as much stain as you used to get. One of the things that the internet, you find all kinds of claims about oil pulling. And one of them was that your teeth will become whiter. And according to my uh, shade guide that we use to decide what color teeth are, the color of my teeth never changed, but what did change was the actual health of my gum tissue. And when your gum tissue is healthy and plump and getting good blood supply, it will appear as though your teeth are whiter. So that was interesting. I've done some other experiments right now. I'm trying this product by Banyan, tooth powder. It's sort of like other powder um, toothpastes that are out there. This one's cinnamon, which I'm not a real mint person. I don't really like mint, so the cinnamon is great. And this has charcoal in it, which is supposed to help with whitening. So that'll have to be reported on at another time. The other thing that I found, I oil pull with coconut oil. And after realizing that the coconut oil was protecting my teeth from uh, stains, and it seemed as though it was changing the quality of the plaque on my teeth, and I wasn't getting the hard tartar buildup. I said, what is it about the coconut oil? So I found this product from my oldest son, who never used to floss his teeth, and then went to a dentist in Seattle where he lives, and the dentist said, you really need to floss your teeth and you need to use this stuff called cocoa floss. And I said, well, floss is floss. But I started using this cocoa floss, and even though it gets stuck in some of the places in my teeth, and so I don't use it.
We lost her again. So cocoa floss is it's lined with coconut oil instead of wax. And oh, here comes Kathleen. All right, we got you back.
Did you hear all of that?
Yeah, you just blipped out when you started talking about cocoa floss.
Oh yeah, cocoa floss. So cocoa floss, it's impregnated with coconut oil and hasn't really changed what's going on in between my teeth significantly from the just oil pulling. But I like it and I use it, which is fun. And it tastes good.
What about the floss, like the regular floss that we use? Like you had the Glide floss there too,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So this is my usual go-to.
Yeah, and that's what I use the Glide tape because it's thinner because my teeth are quite tight against each other. And but David was like, you shouldn't be using that because it's got like Teflon on it or something that's like a plastic coating. And he was like, that's not good because some of it stays in your mouth and then you're swallowing it or it's getting in your body. Would you say, like, do you agree with that?
So
Like
yes, I agree with that. I agree with that, and the benefits of flossing far outweigh the stuff that's left in your mouth.
Right, that's what I assumed too.
Yeah, the thing that's important, and so the reason cocoa floss sticks in between your teeth is because if you look at it in cross section, like if you were to take this floss and look at it, cut it and look at it in cross section, it's round. If you take your Glide, which is a floss tape, and look at it in cross section, it's flat. Well, guess what? In between your teeth is flat.
Yeah.
And so to get in there using something round, it might get stuck. Using something flat, it's not going to get stuck. Which is why I said, I use the cocoa floss almost everywhere, but where it gets stuck in my teeth, I'm still using the Glide.
Yeah.
Or using Glide that's on a little floss pick.
Mm-hmm.
These I discovered when I fractured my shoulder and I didn't have two hands. And so this is a wonderful tool for people who can't reach in their mouth because their fingers are too big, their fingers are too short. So it's a yes, you might leave stuff behind, but it's worth the effort. Yes, this might cause a lot of extra trash, but you're helping your health.
Right.
So it's all a part of making a decision, just like in Ayurveda. We have to say, this is me, this is how I present, and this is what my body needs to be healthy. And so making those choices from a dental perspective and dental tools perspective is also really important.
Yeah.
Which has been one of the things that has really given me a renewed excitement about dentistry, even though I'm retired.
Yeah. Well, it is exciting. And we all have had lots of questions for you too. So let me ask you a little bit. You showed me before the teeth color examples. Can you show that to us too?
Yeah. So so it's long. All of these are different colors of teeth. So here's this is a dramatic section.
Yeah. So you
So a
were
lot of
saying,
people,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you
A
go
lot
ahead.
of
You were going to
people,
say.
a lot of people want their teeth to be this really white color, but your face and your gums and your lip color may say that this is the right color white for you, or this is the right color white for you. In the right circumstances, all of these different colors of white, and this is just a small subset, all of them look this very bright white right here in your mouth, you
Mm.
know. So if you wore really bright red or brown lipstick, this this one here may look really super white in your mouth. So it's not just your teeth that we're looking at, it's the whole of you. Your hair
Yeah.
color, your skin complexion, the color of your lips, and the color of your gums all play a role in what is the best white for your teeth.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So tooth whitening and bleaching is really popular now. Like you see lots of people with these bright, bright, bright white teeth.
Yeah.
Talk to us about that. Like what are the pros and cons of doing that?
So, so I have very strong opinions about whitening. I'm not a real big fan of whitening. Um, and so take this from a perspective of someone who's not a real big fan of whitening. Um, your tooth, if you look at it under a microscope, is just a whole bunch of series of holes. And in those holes are some organic material and some inorganic material. And those holes are a direct, I'll show you on my handy dandy um, tooth model
Oh,
here.
there's our
There we
tooth.
go. So when you look, those holes are a direct communication with this. It's called the pulp of your tooth. In there is your nerve, your blood vessels, your arteries, and your veins. This is all of this part out here of your tooth is dead. It doesn't really have any life to it. This is where the life is. And so those holes are a direct communication with your pulp. And if you're going to try to get this outer surface white, you're going to be doing it with chemicals. And those chemicals can be very damaging to this pulp. If you have this, this is what I love about plastic models is mine got a cavity. See right there? That's a cavity in the tooth. And so if you have the beginning of a cavity, it doesn't show up too much on the top. But if you have a cavity in your tooth that's just beginning, now those holes are really, even though all of this is holes microscopically, this opens up a great big area for those chemicals to go down into. And it goes right into that pulp cavity where your artery and your nerve and your veins are subject to the activity as well as of the chemical as well as the surface. So you're putting your nerve at risk when and your blood vessels at risk when you are using chemicals on them. And so it makes a lot of people's teeth very sensitive, and the results are usually temporary of
Mhm.
whitening. Now, in the dental chair, if your nerve dies and your tooth changes color because of it, we go in and remove this nerve, and then we can put chemicals right in that same space that will whiten your tooth from the inside out. And so that's the best time to do whitening, and it's one tooth at a time. It's not going to be all of them.
Wow.
Um, so, um, so we could talk for hours about whitening, but I think the bottom line is ask yourself why you need your teeth to be a different color than they are? And is there something you can do that might not be as um, as a permanent of a change to your body? Like, can I wear darker lipstick? Can I get my gums to a healthier, stronger, vibrant health that will help my teeth appear different?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's
that's my
great to,
thoughts.
yeah. And I think it's so interesting. It's like so many things in our culture where there's like a fad to look a certain way and then it just catches on. And I don't think we all really think about like, well, what are the long-term or other health repercussions or issues here? And I know I tried like it was like a healthy or like a plant-based tooth whitener thing that was with coconut oil and supposed to be really not make your teeth really sensitive, but it made I have very sensitive teeth apparently. And so I contacted Kathleen after I did this because my teeth were hurting. They were like waking me up in the middle of the night because they were hurting from doing these treatments. And I was like, why do people put themselves through this? And she was like, well, different people have different tooth sensitivities too. And my teeth are sensitive. And I would think that also would correlate with Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, like that Vata's teeth would be more sensitive just from having that like more sensitive nervous system too. I don't know if we could
Yeah.
draw that correlation, but
Well, I find that fascinating because what I've been looking at people dentally, you know, just as a bystander, not like in the dental charity thing, but a lot of Vata predominant people have these really humongous big smiles. And in dentistry, we call it like very gummy, like their lips go up. Like when they smile, you can see
yeah,
their
that's
gums.
me.
Like when I smile, you can see like my four front teeth. Even when I do like a really big smile, you're
Yeah.
only seeing like the very front of my teeth. And I'm a copper predominant person, so my gums are really super protected and my teeth are really super protected by my lips. But Vadas out there that have these huge, big, toothy, gummy smiles, you're getting the whole world into your mouth every time you breathe when you're smiling.
Yeah.
So, you know, what effect does that have? You know, I would think that y'all's teeth are way more sensitive because they're getting the air and everything a lot more than someone like me whose mouth is pretty small and closed. So
That's so
fascinating.
interesting. Yeah,
It
that's
is
totally
interesting.
me. Yeah.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
niece this weekend actually commented on that. She's like, "You show your gums a lot." Because I do. Look, it's like right there. There's some
yeah,
gums.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. In order for you to see my gums, I have to like do one of these numbers.
That's so funny. Yeah, so you're
Yeah,
drawing doshic dental. You're beginning to see patterns and correlations with the dosha. That's so cool. So Kathleen's out there
yeah,
researching. If you come across her, she'll be part of your, or you'll be part of her studies, whether you know it or not.
yeah. Whether you know it or not. You know,
That's
I used
great.
to always laugh. So I practiced dentistry in the community where I lived, which was great with raising four kids because they thought I knew everybody. Um, because I did. I either took care of them or I took care of somebody they knew. But I would see people and they would automatically do this and cover so that I couldn't see their teeth. And so now I'm interacting with people in a different way, and I get to see what their teeth are doing. So if you look at me and I'm staring at your mouth, I probably am. It just doesn't look like that. I probably am.
Doing your research. So yeah, you've
Yeah,
gone through a big transition while you've been in the vitality circle. You've let go of your license to be a
Yeah.
practicing dentist. So what are your thoughts about what is next for you as you're traveling the country and looking at people's teeth without them knowing?
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the most wonderful things that I've learned from Ayurveda is that as much as we all are alike, we are so different. And we all have different needs based on our total uniqueness. And our oral cavity is really no different. For 30 years, I spent a lot of time in people's mouths. Well, actually, more than 30 years as a dentist, and way more than that um, before. And so I've always knew that diseases have early signs and symptoms in the oral cavity. And now understanding from a doshic perspective what our needs are has really spurred me on to how do I know that people have different needs for their oral cavity based on their experience, their dosha, their ailments, and how do I bring this together today as a non-licensed dental professional and encourage people? And what I have found is when I talk with people, I can guide them on how to care for their mouth based on their own reporting of what's going on. Like some people need to go to the dentist every 6 months, and some people don't need to, and some people need to go every other month. We're all different. And so one size doesn't fit all. You know, the toothpaste ads tell you see your dentist every 6 months, and that is a complete generalization of a very complicated set of needs and requirements for optimum oral health. Also, with Ayurveda really concentrating on the digestive tract, this place right here is the entrance to everything that brings your body health and vitality. And if you're not taking care of the teeth and the supporting structures and your tongue and the muscles that make up your face and allow you to talk and make funny faces, then you are not going to have optimum vitality, even if your gut is in perfect shape, right? And
Mm,
really, your gut can't be in perfect shape if your mouth isn't in perfect shape.
right.
And so I'm exploring what that looks like for me in the future. It's a young idea.
Yeah. Well, it's so fun to get the reports from your experiments of one. And I think you've really inspired a lot of us to try things, and also to understand more about what is happening inside our mouths. And so I think you do such a great job of bringing together the Western training that you've had from your dental background, and then what you're learning from implementing Ayurveda, which is really an invitation to experiment and to see what changes with these different tools, tongue scraping, oil pulling, um, and see what happens in our mouths, and also what we're choosing to eat, right? So that also affects what's happening in our mouths or
Yes.
when we're eating or all of
Yeah,
those things. So yeah, thank you so much for being with
absolutely.
us today, Kathleen. Any
It's been
parting
my
words?
pleasure. Um, Only brush, floss, and care for the teeth you want to keep.
All right. Well, we'll live by that. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day in the desert to chat with us. Really appreciate it. See you
Yeah.
soon.
And I'll put my email in the chat if anybody
Oh
wants to
yeah.
reach out to me. if you have questions, if you want to be a, part of my study, and know that you're part of my study.
Yeah, or join the Vitality Circle to learn more and have these conversations frequently with Dr. Kathleen. She'll encourage you.
Yes, I go live and share a lot on Vitality Circle,
Yeah,
so come
it's
join us.
fabulous. Yes. So yeah, and feel free to post with this video too if you're inside the Facebook group, and Kathleen's in here and she'll see you too. So thank you so much. We'll see you later.
Bye. Thanks, Hannah.
Thank you.